listen, I don't want any more bullshit.
Special edition! The motherfucking ghost is back in the house, baby, and it feels so good. T.Y. Hilton is re-signed with the Colts, and yeah, it's a celebration, bitches. And in honor of that, it's just time to do some good old-fashioned Colts shit talking. So that's what we're going to jump into. So without further ado, let me welcome you back, or if it's your first motherfucking time, welcome you to the only place in the world you're ever going to hear it done like this. The number one uncensored Colts podcast on the planet. The completely unique, completely uncensored, always controversial, the one and only bullshit-free Colts podcast. And you can believe, baby, this is the only place in the world where you're going to hear everything there is to talk about the Indianapolis Colts worth talking about. But as always, baby, here you're going to hear it with no coach speak, no PRs, no spin, no political correctness, and as always, and most importantly, no motherfucking bullshit. I'm your host, Harkon Ajala, a.k.a. the Bad Boy Genius, at your motherfucking service as always. And let's jump right into this shit, because T.Y. is the fuck back. Now, I'm feeling good about it, so I'm going into my Colts shit talk bag, baby. But before we do that, as always, let me do this. Since you're a pimp, since you're a player, because you're listening and watching right now, I want you to take your pimp-ass, player-ass middle finger, because it's all about that mood today. And I want you to smash that like button below, because while it's free to you, it will help the algorithm to share this podcast worldwide with more and more real deal, hardcore, diehard, no bullshit fans like yourself who love the Colts, but are just sick and fucking tired of the generic, boring, Pollyanna, ass-kissing, tiptoeing, walking on eggshells, soft-ass media coverage that they're usually subjected to about the Colts. You want to hear the real shit, not the shill shit about the Colts, and I'm going to give it to you right here, baby, every time, all the time. Other people might let you down, but I never will. So make sure you hit that like button, share this with somebody else who appreciate it, subscribe to the channel, and last but not least, there's 3 ways you can donate to us down below. Please pick one of those and send your man $20, $15, $10, $5, even $1 to help us continue to give you more and more of the motherfucking content that you motherfuckers tell me you want. All right? So with that out of the way, let's get down to talking shit, or as all y'all know I love to put it, let's chop it the fuck up. All right, let's start with T.Y. Hilton. First off, like I said, congratulations on T.Y. on getting your money. And congratulations, thank you for re-signing with the Colts. You got a 1-year deal, $10 million, $8 million guaranteed. And apparently he turned down an offer for more money with another team. It's been reported that it's the Baltimore Ravens, and decided to come back to the Colts. I commend him and I thank him for that. We love you here, T.Y. Glad to see you back. Now, let's put the emotions aside, though, because I've seen some people on Twitter, online, who in my comments who are like, well, you know, T.Y. is washed up and he's not really a wide receiver number one anymore. We should have gotten somebody else. Let me just, as always, let's focus on the fucking signal and not the noise. Instead of listening to bullshit, talking bullshit, let's actually look at T.Y. Hilton's stats for last season. Now, he played in 15 games. He had 762 yards, 56 receptions, 5 TDs, averaged 13.6 yards per catch. Now, that's a fine season for an average starting wide receiver in the NFL. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but it's certainly not Pro Bowl status. It's nothing to write home about. So you might say, well, I mean, T.Y.'s fallen off. And I even questioned that myself early on in the year. But here's the deal. When I start looking at the tape, looking at the film, and looking at what happened in the last 6 games, look at T.Y.'s stats over the last 6 games of the season, starting with Tennessee. Now, if you take a look at that game, T.Y. had 4 catches for 81 yards in that game and a touchdown. That's a 20.3 yard average per catch, and he had a 50-yard reception in that game. That was his longest. Next week, they play Houston. T.Y. has 8 catches for 110 yards, 13.8 average yards per catch, and he has another touchdown. His long is a 21-yard catch. Then you go and Las Vegas Raiders is the next week. T.Y. has 5 catches for 86 yards, a 17.2 per catch average, and 2 touchdowns in that game. All right, next game versus Houston, he has 4 catches for 71 yards. Again, 17.8 yards per catch average. The next game against Pittsburgh, only 3 catches, but 60 yards. All right, 20 yards per catch. And then the last game of the year, he has 3 catches for just 27 yards and a 9 yards per catch average with a touchdown. Now, what changed from the beginning of the year when he was like having 53 yards, 28 yards, 29 yards? He had one with 11 yards against Cincinnati, 2 catches for 9 yards against Detroit. What changed? Well, if you go back and you watch the film, here's what changed. Those last 5-6 games, they were calling the offense a little differently to get T.Y. involved. Think about how Phillip Rivers played the game. Phillip Rivers gets the fucking ball out within like a second and a half. Okay? He no longer had the cannon arm to force the ball down the field, but that never really was his thing, except when he got behind in games, which led to a lot of his interceptions in his career. His game was to get rid of the ball quickly, throw it to the tight ends, throw it to the running backs. He wasn't standing back there for 2-3 seconds waiting for that long down the field pass to open up. But they changed towards the end of the year and started saying, look, we want you to look for T.Y. They started making calling plays. Reich started calling plays and calling a game plan to get T.Y. more involved. And when he got his opportunities, when they were looking for him, it became clear. You go back and watch the film, I'm telling you, he was still able to get open down the field. He was still able to get behind people. He was still a vertical threat. He's still an elite route runner. And there were a few of those plays that Phil just didn't get the ball there, or his numbers would have been even better. So the way he was trending towards the end of the last season, you know, if you take those 6 games and extrapolate that across a whole season, you're talking about a 1,300 yard season and, you know, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15 touchdowns. Okay. You're talking about a Pro Bowl caliber season. Now, T.Y. playing in an offense where you've got Carson Wentz, who has a cannon arm still, and is also, and this is something a lot of people don't really think about, Carson is also pretty fucking mobile, so he can extend plays, which is where T.Y. also shines. I'm telling you, T.Y. in that offense with Campbell back on the field, hopefully, and Pittman raising his game, where they can't just double down and triple down on T.Y. to take him out of the game, I am predicting, not only do I believe he can, but I'm predicting he's going to have a hell of a bounce back season next year. Y'all can come back and clown me on it if I'm wrong. No pun intended. We're talking about T.Y. But I really believe that. So, yeah, getting T.Y. back, besides his play and his potential to still be an electrifying, game-breaking receiver, getting him back with his leadership in the locker room for the other wide receivers, the young wide receivers on the team, was a great move. He's invaluable. We needed him back. I'm glad they did what they had to do to bring him back into the fold. So you motherfuckers out there hating on T.Y., doubting on T.Y., the film does not support your hate, all right? So I'm glad to have him back. I think he's going to make liars out of all y'all next year. So let's talk some more shit. There's a lot of people online, on Twitter, etc., bitching about the Colts didn't make enough moves in free agency. The Colts weren't active enough. The Colts weren't actively trying to get better. What the fuck's wrong with Ballard? It's not even his fucking money and he's tight with it. Look, I get it. Some of y'all, you don't want to feel left out. You don't want to be like fucking Rudolph and not be able to join into any reindeer games during free agency where you get all hyped up about the latest signing and the latest rumors of signing and etc. But on the real, just keeping 100, some of you motherfuckers out here are acting like you cheer for the fucking Bengals or the Jaguars. Your team is not a trash team that's just hoping to win 5 games this season, okay? Some of you motherfuckers out here are just like wanting to hear a name you know. The Colts signed X player. You want to hear that just so you can get excited about it. Look, I talked about it in the last podcast. This ain't the time we want to win in the fucking free agency press conferences. We want to win in fucking February in the Super Bowl. We're trying to get another Lombardi up in this bitch. So if it helps you, think of it like this. Did you not see that they re-signed Xavier Rhodes? Okay, if it helps you, just pretend that Xavier Rhodes didn't play here last year and tell me that you wouldn't be excited about them signing a player to play cornerback this year who had the year that Xavier Rhodes had last year. A shutdown fucking corner. Tell me you wouldn't be hyped about that. So just act like Xavier Rhodes and T.Y. Hilton were players who didn't play for us last year, and they're just signing so you can get all excited and run to the bathroom and get your lotion and your Kleenex and go to town. You feel me? I mean, for Christ's sake, some of you motherfuckers was excited about Sammy fucking Watkins. You think we could still sign Sammy Watkins? Are you fucking kidding me? This motherfucker ain't played 15 games since he was in high school. You know what I mean? And when he did play, he's actually been one of the most disappointing number 4 picks in a while. Real talk. T.Y. Hilton's career has made Sammy Watkins' career look like hot trash in the fucking summertime. And T.Y. was a 3rd round pick, a late 3rd round pick, whereas fucking Sammy Watkins went like number 4 overall. And some of you motherfuckers are on Twitter, you know, your thumbs hurting, you just going off about, you think we could get Sammy Watkins? We need Sammy Watkins. You want a name so bad. Fuck that. That dude is just a guy. Stop listening to these fucking pundits and so-called experts talking about, oh, the Colts should sign this guy. They should sign that guy. You know, the reality is, most of them know what the fuck they're talking about. Or as Eminem put it even better, nothing comes out when they move their lips. Just a bunch of gibberish. And this is something a lot of people seem to be forgetting. Motherfuckers act like they forgot about Wentz. Did y'all fucking forget about Carson Wentz? You want something to get excited about in the offseason? Are you telling me that you forgot that the Colts just made a trade for a guy, a quarterback, no less, who was a fucking MVP candidate? The leading MVP candidate just a couple of years ago? And because he had a bad year last year on a trash-ass offense, you think that he's just garbage now? So you're not even talking about it? You're not excited about that? That wasn't a big fucking offseason acquisition. That wasn't a big, bold move. Trust me, if he comes back and he plays even like a top 10 quarterback, he will put this fucking team squarely into the Super Bowl contender category based on what else is around him and what is coming still, I believe, in this offseason. That ain't something to get excited about. Have y'all actually gone and watched Carson Wentz's fucking film? Have you seen how he was balling before last year, particularly in 17 and 2018? Have you seen how mobile this dude is? Have you seen the fucking cannon on this dude's arm? Have you seen his toughness? I'm telling you, back with Frank, it is reason for you to be excited, and that's not bullshit. I'm keeping it 100 on that. I'm not just being over optimistic because it's the off season and I'm reaching for straws to be excited about. So let's move on. What other shit talk we? Okay, here's another thing. Everybody's mad. Oh, what about the edge? What about edge rusher? What's wrong with Ballard? He hasn't addressed edge rusher. Okay, now the guy that he signed from the Chargers, I ain't going to get into him. That guy might be a nice rotational piece. Maybe he surprises us all. I don't know. I can't say that for sure, but that's not really what's exciting to me. Listen, you want to talk about edge? Here's the deal, okay? The truth of the matter is, there's only 2, maybe 3 of those motherfuckers who were on the market who were anywhere near a sure thing, okay? Shaq Barrett, absolutely. All right? After that, I mean, maybe Yannick Ngakoue, maybe, is a pretty good bet. But the rest of those motherfuckers were nowhere near a sure thing. So you would have had maybe a month or so to be excited because Ballard gave one of them 13, 14, 15, 16 million dollars a year, only for him to possibly come in this motherfucker and just be a younger Justin Houston. I mean, who gives a shit? Here's the real talk, all right? Here's where your mind really should be. It's fucking time for Kamiko Toure and fucking Tyquan Lewis to shine. It's time for them to step in, get the reps, and show us what they can do. And if they can do what I'm hoping they can do, particularly Toure, then you ain't gonna have to worry about any of the motherfuckers that they didn't sign on the free agent market. Plus, you still got the possibility of picking up a strong edge rushing prospect or two in the draft, which brings me to the next thing I'm gonna talk a little shit about, which is left tackle. I see motherfuckers all in their feelings. Oh, what about left tackle? What are we gonna do? The whole team's gonna fall apart because we haven't addressed left tackle. Look, first off, the better place to get your starting left tackle for this upcoming season is in the draft. Here's why. Because you get your left tackle of the future in this year's draft, you got four. Matter of fact, if you pick them in the first round, you got 5 years. So you got a minimum 4 to 5 years that you can have your starting left tackle, and you're paying them on a rookie salary, okay? You want to bring Eric Fisher, people are talking about Trent Williams. What the 49ers give Trent Williams? $18 million fucking dollars a year? Nah. If you have to do that for your starting left tackle, and that dude's 33 fucking years old. To me, that's a dumbass move, but whatever. Okay? But you don't want to have to pay your starting left tackle $18 million, considering that you're going to have to pony up near 20 like next year for Darius Leonard. You're going to have to pay damn near 20 for Quentin Nelson, right? Next year. You're going to have to fucking pay Braden Smith. And keep this in mind. If Carson Wentz plays the way we all hope he plays over the next 2 years, you're going to have to back a fucking Brinks truck up for him. $35, $40 million if he's playing at a top 5 level for quarterback, especially if he gets you somewhere like the Super Bowl and wins. Oh my God, if they win one. But either way, if he's playing top 5 to top 10 level, like we all hope, you're going to have to give him a truckload of fucking money. So believe me, you don't want to have to pay your starting edge rusher $15-16 million and a left tackle $15-18 million right now, or it's going to hamstring you. You're going to end up having to lose some good players. We still want to bring back Nyheim Hines, right? So stop fucking whining about a left tackle. They brought one in. They might bring in another guy as a backup or a stopgap if you have to. But most likely they're going to get a nice one in the draft. And the draft has several in there that'll be there for them. All right? What's some more shit I want? So I'll tell you another thing. I'm going to just go ahead and throw this in here. The last thing I'm going to talk a little shit about. Y'all motherfuckers out here, I see it all the time. People hating on Jim Irsay, trying to clown him, trying to call him names, saying he doesn't know what he's doing, saying that he's not a good owner. Let me tell you something. I fucks with Jim Irsay. I met the man personally, and it wasn't even on some like me running up like, yo, Mr. Irsay. Let me just say this. He's a genuine dude. He loves the Colts. We had a little conversation, and this was just in a private situation. It wasn't any reason for him to lie to me or even to be nice to me or cool with me. This was just in a hospital. We just happened to come across each other. Here's one fucking thing I know about Jim Irsay from that conversation we had, as well as just watching him over the years that he's been here and had his team here in Indianapolis. Without question, it is undeniable. It is not up for debate. He loves the Indianapolis Colts. He loves and cares about the Indianapolis Colts fans. He wants to fucking win. He loves and cares about the Colts players. And let me say it again, he wants to fucking win badly. And he knows football inside and out. You talk to anybody who's worked with him, been around him, worked for him, He is probably the most knowledgeable owner in the NFL when it comes to the X's and O's of football, from the top down, inside and out. He's been general manager before. He's, grew up around the team since he was like 16. He knows what the fuck he's doing, and he cares for his players, not just as players, but as human beings. He cares for the fans, really does. Wants to win, wants to have a winner for Indianapolis. He will spend the money. He's nowhere near cheap. And for all you motherfuckers hating on him, if you love T.Y., you need to clap it up. You need to prop up Jim Irsay, because Jim Irsay was one of the key closers on that T.Y. deal. One of the key reasons that T.Y. is back in Indianapolis. He got that shit done, made sure that shit got done for us, for the fans, for the team, for the Indianapolis Colts. So I'm going to say it again like I said before. I fucks with Jim Irsay. Y'all quit trying to clown him. And with that, I think that's enough shit talking for this podcast until we get to the next one, Volume 2. So I want to thank you again for being here. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and donate. And let me know in the comments below what you think. You agree, you disagree with the shit I've been talking today. And if you got some shit you want to talk of your own, make sure you hit me in the comments. We talk shit together, baby. I love doing it. So with that, I'm going to leave y'all the way I leave y'all every week. For you, my friend, my dear listener, my dear podcast viewer, just like for every Colts player, Colts coach, Colts front office member that might be listening, because I know some of y'all do, let's go out. Let's get it done in free agency. Let's get it done in the draft. Let's have a great training camp. And let's win another fucking Lombardi, baby. Peace. And win another fucking Lombardi, baby. And win another fucking Lombardi, baby. And win another fucking Lombardi.